Welcome to Financial Clarity, the podcast dedicated to helping service-based small business owners achieve financial success. Join us as we demystify financial concepts, get practical tips from seasoned entrepreneurs, and discover strategies to increase profit and value. Hannah Smolinski here. I'm the host of the Financial Clarity podcast, where I connect successful entrepreneurs, financial experts, and leaders in the small business community. Past guests include Samantha Irwin, a consultant who uses her hospitality and teaching background to help businesses understand and curate their customers' experience, and Greg Crabtree, the author of Simple Numbers, Straight Talk, Big Profits, which is my favorite financial book to recommend to small business owners. So if either of those episodes sound interesting, please make sure to go check those out on your favorite podcast app. Today's episode is brought to you by my company, Clara CFO Group. Clara CFO is dedicated to providing financial clarity and profit-maximizing solutions to small businesses. The team at Clara CFO are seasoned accounting professionals with a heart for small business. We help growth-minded entrepreneurs thrive through fractional CFO services and financial education. To learn more about Clara CFO, go to claracfo.com. I was able to meet today's guest through Gaynor Milkey, who is the founder and chief opportunity officer at Charisma Inc. I met Gaynor at the QuickBooks Connect conference in 2023. And if you want to learn more about Gaynor and how she can help you as an accountant, she works with accountant clients, you can go to charismainc.com. Today's guest is Adam Lean. Adam is a former accountant turned two-time entrepreneur who built, scaled, and sold two businesses. While helping business owners, he realized his passion was teaching and providing tools to business owners who help them make more money and have peace of mind. He currently runs the CFO Project, a training company that trains financial professionals on how to offer outsourced CFO and business advisory services. Adam, thank you for being on the podcast.
Hey, I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Well, so you're kind of training my competition, I guess, but I love it.
I mean, we say all the time, there could be triple, quadruple the amount of CFOs out there, and there still wouldn't touch the need of business owners out there. There's so much need.
I 100% agree. I mean, before we pressed record, we were talking a little bit about the, potentially trading other CFOs like that. We might do it, but I'm like, no, there's already really great companies that are doing that. And I 100% agree that there needs to be a lot more people using CFO services, and my company can certainly not help everybody. So I'm glad that you are doing that work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. So I would love to hear a little bit more about the background of what brought you to starting CFO Project, but can you tell us a little about those businesses that you started and sold and how you got to starting CFO Project?
Yeah. So in college, I was an accounting major. So I thought, all right, after I graduated, I'll get a job as an accountant. And honestly, Hannah, I hated it. I didn't like being an accountant. I enjoyed what I did to an extent. And the thing is, I wanted to help the company I worked for. I wanted to help it grow. But my job was literally to record the past. They didn't. The business could have fell off a cliff for all my department cared. As long as the numbers were right, then it didn't matter. And that was not really motivational to me. So I had all this pent up energy. So at nights and on the weekends, I started my own business, which was an e-commerce business back in 2006. And I started an e-commerce business before it was easy to start an e-commerce business.
Right.
I mean, I literally got mail ordered a CD-ROM that had a shopping cart software on it. And I had to find a hosting company, and I hosted this shopping cart and built it. And anyways, it wasn't as easy as it is now, but I started it. And after a few iterations, I got it up and running, and I was quickly able to get to 7 figures in annual revenue within about 5-year time frame.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was able to leave my day job, and I enjoyed the idea of having the ability to work on the business and help it grow, not just record the past. And then I started finding other business owners in my niche that were running e-commerce businesses as well, but they were asking me questions. And then it dawned on me one day, it's like, I am taking for granted the fact that I understood my numbers. These people didn't. They were asking me questions that I thought were just basic, and they're not basic. They're basic to me because I was an accountant. And so I started helping them, and then that morphed into an outsourced CFO business.
Mm.
And I initially, uh, a couple of years later, I sold my e-commerce business to one of my suppliers, and then I started an outsourced CFO company. And the idea was it for to be a fractional CFO where I would take on a handful of clients. But then I think because of my e-commerce background, I was very transactionally focused. And
Yeah.
then I thought, what if instead of having a customized CFO service, what if I created a productized CFO service where every client got the same, it was the same delivery on the back end. And instead of completely customizing engagement for each client, it was the same engagement for each client.
Mhm.
The client wouldn't know that. The client would just know that they were getting results. But on the back end, it would be the same. And we would be able to systematize and scale it. And that's what I did. And I quickly, within 18 months of starting, I got to 17 clients. And each client was taking about 4 hours per month to service. And so I could have taken on a lot more clients, but instead I wanted to spend my time focusing on building the systems. And then I hired other people on the team to service the clients and to help me get new clients. And then I met my now business partner, and he had a very similar philosophy. He's a little bit older than I am. He started a business in the 70s, a CFO business in the 70s, where he was doing another version of a productized CFO service as well. So we merged firms and then thought, instead of continuing to hire more people on our team, why don't we train our systems, our scalable systems, to other accountants and other bookkeepers?
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We started the CFO Project 4 years ago, where it's a membership program where we train accountants and bookkeepers and enrolled agents and CPAs to offer a productized CFO service so they can make more money in less time in a way
Yeah.
that's scalable.
Yeah. That's great. So then now do you serve any clients as a fractional CFO, or is it all in the training side?
And I still serve clients.
Mhm.
I have uh, I still have, I mean, I have my very first client from 8 years ago
Yeah.
still. I've stopped taking on new clients as of about 2 years ago because the CFO project's my full time. It takes my full time effort,
Yeah.
but I still have clients. I'm still in the game, and I mean, I enjoy helping business owners. Myself and my business partner, our mission is to eradicate business failure
Mm.
because and we feel that despite all of the help that business owners have at their fingertips, books, courses, MBA programs, a plethora of podcasts and trainings and all that, yet most businesses fail. Well, despite all of this help, most businesses fail. And it's why? Well, it's because they failed at the one thing required to stay in business, which is cash flow. Cash flow is a financial concept. So business owners need somebody in their lives that understands financial strategy and business strategy that can help them stay in business and grow. And at the end of the day, that's really what a CFO does for a big business. So we wanted to give CFOs to smaller businesses
Yeah.
to help eradicate business failure.
I love that. And it is, I mean, I think oftentimes entrepreneurs will start out and they'll think, "Hey, like I have a bookkeeper. Like I check the box. I got the financial help I needed because I have a bookkeeper." And then they realize after a couple years or a year or so that the bookkeeper is really not answering the questions that they really
Yeah.
have, and they are not looking forward at all. So that forward-looking cash flow is a huge part. That was one of the first kind of aha moments for me too when I was serving, or actually I was working internally. I'd left public accounting, was working internally for a engineering company, and had that sort of cash flow light bulb moment of I was doing it for them, but it was like it was so helpful to them to make their decisions that it was kind of,
Yeah.
those game-changing moments. So I love
Totally.
that. So when you thought about, so you're growing, you had your service-based business, you had your fractional CFO, or you call it outsourced CFO business.
Yeah, we purposely don't use the word fractional
Yeah.
because fractional is more of a customized engagement for each client. We call it a productized CFO, but
Mm.
really we just call it outsourced CFO slash advisory services.
Okay. That's good. I think I was listening to one of your podcast episodes where you guys talked about that. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I never heard of the differentiation between the two before. We kind of see those things as synonymous, but your outsourced CFO services, you you decided to go into training. And I have a question about that because what I know about training businesses is they often need a fairly large audience in order for that to really scale.
Mhm.
So, have you found that to be true? Or and tell me a little bit about what that transition was like into
Yeah.
starting to train.
Yeah. And so we, just to be clear, we train accountants and bookkeepers. We don't train business owners. We train
Right.
accountants and
Right.
bookkeepers to work with the businesses. And honestly, to start a training company, the way we did it was we did things that didn't scale first, and then were able to scale. So we talked to a lot of accountants that we knew in our circle and said, "Hey, we have this idea of of basically teaching what we did to scale our firm." And accountants were like, "Yeah, I would love to learn that," because we essentially invented this phrase called accountant's trap, where accountants are stuck in a trap where in order to get paid more, you either have to work more hours or take on more clients. And that applies to accountants and bookkeepers and enrolled agents. And it's a trap because you can't increase your take home pay by raising your prices, because in the minds of a business owner, bookkeeping and tax services are a commodity. And
Uh,
as with any commodity, they don't know the difference. Like if there's two gas stations next to each other and one gas station's $1 more, nobody's going to go to that gas station because they view gasoline as a commodity, even though, oil experts will say, well, no, there's a giant difference between the two qualities. Most people don't care. Same with taxes and bookkeeping services. Most business owners, they view tax and bookkeeping as a necessary evil. It just has to be done. So let's just get somebody to do it. I'm not going to pay top dollar for it. Let's just get somebody to do it. It's either right or wrong. Why would I pay top dollar for this to come up with the same result? And so, because of that, the average accountant and bookkeeper out there cannot raise their prices, and they're stuck
mhm.
in a trap because the only way to make more money is to take on more clients or work more hours. And we all know that accountants are working long hours as it is, especially during tax season. And by taking on more clients, you just have to hire more people, and that's more complexity and whatnot. So, a great way to escape the trap, actually, the only way to escape the trap, is to offer something your clients do value so that you can raise your prices. And what do clients value? How to advice on how to have a successful business.
Mm,
And if you could talk to clients in that manner, my job is to help you have a successful business, then you'll get clients all day long. And so as starting a training company, we essentially taught or currently teach to these accountants and bookkeepers how to talk to clients to get clients, and then how to talk to clients to keep clients. That's really all it is at the end of the day. You need to get clients, you need to keep the clients. You
yeah.
can't get clients like if you don't speak like a human versus an accountant. Most accountants speak accounting to
Yes. Very true.
humans. We need to be a human and talk to humans. and 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 so then you need to keep the client. If you're not helping them actually have a successful business, they're going to quit. And they're going to quit your CFO service. And so that's what we do. And to answer your question, we had to do things that were not scalable, so we didn't really have a large list of accountants. We just talked to the ones we did know and then organically built a
Hmm.
large following.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that that's, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's really applicable to a lot of people who might be listening, where they might be thinking, "Hey, I've been doing this thing for a very long time, and now I'm looking at the next evolution of my business might look differently, and maybe I want to do something like this training, take a training model, but without having the audience, it starts to maybe feel daunting, but you're just saying like, hey, we kind of started with baby steps. We did like smaller groups. Maybe did you kind of use those as focus groups to hone your processes as well?
Yeah. We did. But if somebody that owns a business that's a service based business, training is not the only way to go. Essentially, what my advice to you is start something that is scalable. Training is just one way that you can scale it. I mean, that's
Mhm.
essentially what we did with our CFO service. We train other accountants to do this. It's scalable, but there's other ways to productize your service.
Hmm.
And if you could productize your service, as long as that's a great way to scale it. I mean, it is to productize. So turn your service into productization. Training is just one way to do that. Um, I mean, the definition of scale is that you're able to increase revenue without a substantial increase in cost. And, if you're an accountant, your service is not scalable because if you increase revenue by getting another client, you have to increase costs, either your time or payroll. Well, how can you scale that? How can you get more clients, more revenue? I mean, without a substantial increase in costs. And that's why we're saying an advisory service is a great way to do that. You're increasing your revenue because you're now
Hmm.
able to charge significantly more than tax or bookkeeping without an increase in cost, because unlike tax and bookkeeping, there's not a certain level of work that has to be done in order for the books to be done or the taxes to be done. With advisory services, you're advising. And
Yeah.
so you spend 4 hours or less per month per client, and you're definitely increasing your margin that way.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, when it comes to scaling, did you consider any other options for your business as you were thinking about the next stage?
Yeah. So when Jeff, my business partner, and I we merged our CFO firms before we came up with the idea of the membership program. We experimented with scaling in many different ways. We thought
Hmm.
about like having a franchise concept where we franchised this and essentially taught other accountants, and they would have their own franchise. We thought about having more of a business model where we have a bunch of CFOs on our team, but they are essentially partners in a sense. So almost like a law firm. And it's there's a bunch of partners who each go out and get their own book of business, and they service them, and they each control their own P&L, if you will.
Hmm.
And we all essentially shared in the burden of the firm's expenses, and everybody profited from their book of business plus a share of the firm's book of business. And we thought about a few other ways. One thing that really didn't work the way we wanted it to was scaling by hiring people, because we realized that the type of CFO that we wanted to work with our clients we needed CFOs that were entrepreneurial minded. Well, entrepreneurially minded people are not employees. And so they don't want to be hired and
True.
so that's essentially what led us to the idea. I was like, wait a minute, why don't we just find all these entrepreneurially minded accountants and bookkeepers and whatnot, and train them, and they go out and keep 100% of their earnings, and they just pay us just a nominal fee to be in our program.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very, very good to think about all the different ways and think through the potential, roadblocks there as well. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, yeah, I would hire like any of my CFO friends to be part of Clara, but they all have their own businesses and they
Yeah.
all want to run their own businesses. So that is important to think about when you're thinking about scaling a service business is what does that labor look like? And is there the supply of the types of people you want to have to be able to be successful.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I think that comes from when you build a business as an entrepreneur and you have that drive and you're serving people that way, you if you're building your service to operate well like that, then you need another person who's entrepreneurial who can come in and do those things. And that's where it can be challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not scalable.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. So, tell us a little bit about now in the business. What does the business model look like in a training business? Like, what are the types of things that you pay? Or I guess what is the business model? Is my question.
Yeah, I mean, really, the way we've positioned our business model, it's a training company, but the business model is a membership based business model, like a gym. The idea is that you pay a fee to join the gym, join our program, the membership program, and we've set it up so that you pay one price and you get 12 months access to the program, because we feel that it's going to take it starting a CFO practice or adding a CFO practice to your existing practice is going to take time. It's
Yeah.
going to take a certain amount of time. And we don't want you, we want you to be able to learn how to do it and then go out and actually do it while having the backing of trainers, people in the membership program that are helping you figure out what went right and what went wrong. When we first started this, we just charged people on a month to month basis. And what we realized is that once people learned, they were like, okay, I've learned. I don't need to stay in the membership anymore. But then all they had was knowledge. Then when they went out and tried to do it, they fell flat on their face because it
Yeah.
didn't, I could teach you all day long how to ride a bike by having you watch a video, but until you actually get on that bike, it's not going to make sense. So when you get on that bike, when you go out and try to get CFO clients or upsell your existing clients to CFO services or provide a CFO service, you're going to run into challenges and roadblocks, and you need to be successful. You need to have a group of people to turn to for help. And everybody in the membership is divided into what we call a round table. It's a mastermind group that meets weekly so you meet with a small group of people led by a trainer. And that is your go-to group of people. So if you run into challenges or roadblocks for a full year, you get access to people who will help you. That
That's
makes
great.
all the difference. It separates the successful CFOs from the non-successful. So that is the business model in of itself. It's a membership based model.
Hmm. And then inside the membership, they have access to training and it's self-service at that point, right? Like, or is it live? Do they have to show up at a certain time? How have you structured that?
Yeah, so it's hybrid. All the what we call basic CFO training on how to provide the service and how to get clients and how to get leads and how to sell to those leads, the CFO service. All of that is self-paced training. You take it at
Mhm.
your own pace, but it's hybrid in that at the end of each module, you're gonna be asked to complete some exercises. We're gonna give you some scenarios, and you've basically put your CFO hat on and figure out how you would advise this person. And then all those exercises are submitted to your trainer, who will then in in real life grade them, help you figure out, hey, I would have done this differently, or basically it's a coaching mechanism. But they're going to help you, and that way you are understanding how to provide the CFO service or how to go out and get clients. And then we also have we call master classes. These are live deep dives that we offer once a month on a very particular, uh, specific topic to help you build, grow, or scale your firm. And
Mhm.
those are all live. Um, and then we have, various live components throughout the month, but then we have other things that are self-paced. Like we have a forum that is open 24/7, a series of message boards essentially. And we have a few other modules on the program that are essentially trainings that you could take at your own pace. For example, we have a training that is how to get clients from the stage. So it's an entire training where we show you how to go out and either get on virtual stages or physical stages and get clients for your CFO service. And we give you the presentation and all that.
Wow.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. That's great. I love that. I like that it's not just about like how do you have the skill, but it's also like how are they going to become successful at
Totally.
I think that part of their business.
Because here's the thing: you could be the best CFO in the world. You could be the CFO for, I don't know, Microsoft right now, and still fail at being the CFO to a small and medium sized business.
Absolutely.
So it does not matter how much CFO knowledge you have. It matters, can you get a client to take action? Because if you can't get a client to take action, even despite how smart you are, despite how much that what needs to be improved about this business, if you can't get the client to understand it
Mhm.
and get them to actually do something about it, then none of it matters. And so a lot of what we talk about in the program is getting clients to take action. So you have to be able to be somebody that a client can trust, that can lean on for guidance and be a confidant for, and get them to take action every single month on something that you want them to take action on. And how do you know what you want them to take action on? Well, what are the things that are going to improve cash flow the most important things? Once you know that, then you have to be able to communicate that in a way that makes sense to a business owner. So you have to take your accountant hat off, your bookkeeper hat off, and put your CFO hat on and be able to communicate to a business owner in a way that makes sense. So
Mm,
that's huge. Whereas there's a lot of training programs on how to actually do tactical things,
yeah.
but it doesn't really matter unless you can actually help your client get results.
Do you find that that is the biggest sticking point for accountants and bookkeepers is the communication piece?
I think it is from getting a client standpoint and servicing the client
Yeah.
standpoint. I think from getting a client standpoint, you can't just go up to a business owner and say, "Oh, for CFO services is $2,500 a month." Most business owners, if not all, will either ghost you or they'll say no or just look at you like you have five heads. And it's because most business owners don't know what a CFO is. They don't think their business even needs one. They think Coca-Cola needs a CFO, not my $4 million construction company. And if you go to people, the business owners that have heard of CFO, they think it's the head accountant. Well, I already have an accounting firm. I don't need a CFO. And they don't understand that a CFO's job is to help them have a growing, successful business. But so our job is to train the accountants is to train the accountants to communicate that to business owners, communicate what you do in a way that makes sense. Once you have the client, then you have to communicate every month on how to get them to take action. So communication and and being able to guide a client to success are huge, huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of soft skills I think that happen in
Totally,
the CFO space. I mean, we joke that we're part counselors, part financial professionals, but
totally.
and we hire for emotional intelligence actually because we find that
We
that
do
is very
too. We do
s-
too.
yeah. So something to look for if you're looking for a CFO, if that's important to you, is that emotional intelligence piece. I
Totally.
think as you continue to grow CFO Project, what are you doing to build your audience and get the word out?
Yeah. So essentially, we have two sides to our marketing. We one side is where we're just doing digital marketing, basically getting the word out in a way that's digital,
Yeah.
anything digital. So ads, social media, in virtual stages, virtual platforms such as this. I mean,
Yeah.
this is digital. And then we have another side, which is strategic partnerships, where we find people who have an audience made up of accountants and bookkeepers, and just work with them and help each other grow. And I mean, that's honestly, I mean, that, that's unlike, that's like most businesses that they have to get advertising in some capacity. Oh, and the third part of this is referrals from our existing members because our members are getting results and they're referring their friends all the time. We had a membership drive last month. We had a ton of members refer their friends because they're getting results as well.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's great. That what do you think some of the unexpected challenges have been of running a training business versus the service business?
that's a good question. There's a lot of pros and cons between a service business and a training business. Unexpected challenges, I would say. I, I don't know if there's any unexpected challenges. There's some challenges that we expected, but in terms of unexpected challenges, I'd say the the you have to have a certain level of entrepreneurial drive to do this.
Mm,
And that it's so I think when we get somebody in the program, you have to want it. You have to be able to be resourceful and you have to understand that you can't just join and we're just going to mail you a silver bullet and that's going to solve all the problems and help you get 10 clients within your first month. You actually have to have this drive, this entrepreneurial drive. And I would say that I would I guess the unexpected challenge is that I just assumed that most people had that because I
yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
Most people don't have that. And
Mm,
I found that the most people that do join our program have it and they join it because they are entrepreneurial and they want to they understand the vision. they have a vision for their career and their business. Whereas a lot of people who are interested in what we do but end up not joining, a lot of them are just not entrepreneurial minded, which is totally fine. They love being an accountant and they love processing, the taxes or doing compliance work, and that's fine. That's for those people. But we're saying to the people who are not fine with that, hey, there's a better way to still stay in the accounting world, but as an added benefit, you're going to help business owners grow their business, which means you're going to help these people, these millions of people who started a business whose business is literally putting the food on their family's table. It has to work.
Right.
So you're helping those people and you're helping yourself because you're making more money and spending less time and not have to kill yourself during tax season. To those people, you're that are entrepreneurial minded, we welcome you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it sounds like maybe how to weed out or I guess like the target audience had to be maybe refined a little bit in the process. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's always going to happen where any kind of training where somebody thinks, hey, I'm going to take this course and then I'm going to do great. But then maybe they don't even take the course. They don't even actually do the thing. And then
Yeah.
they might even be disgruntled because they spent the money on it, but really they never did
Totally.
the work. So
Right. We
I
we have a very, very high success rate in our program. And it's because I think it is kind of a weed out thing. You're going to join if you're entrepreneurial. And since you're entrepreneurial, you're going to succeed if you have the training and the experience, which is what we give you in the program. And the people that there's a lot of people also that don't join, not because they don't have an entrepreneurial spirit. I personally think it's because they let the imposter syndrome get the best of them.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
thinking, I'm not qualified to be the CFO for anything.
yeah,
I'm just an accountant or just a bookkeeper. And it's like, you don't realize that you have so much knowledge that most business owners don't possess. Most business owners can't read a balance sheet to save their life. Most business owners think that profit is the best thing ever, and that's what they're shooting for. And we all know that that's not. Profit doesn't matter as much as cash flow. And I mean, Uber has yet to make a profit, but they're still in business today because they have cash flow from investors. And anyways, these business owners are flying blind and they're getting all these mixed messages from everywhere. And they just need somebody they can trust and be their guide to their confidant, somebody they can lean on, be their therapist, essentially, use that word. They're somebody that they can just trust. Can the average accountant, not even to the average, can most accountants and bookkeepers be somebody that a business owner can trust? Absolutely.
yeah,
Can most accountants and bookkeepers be somebody that can help explain numbers in a way that makes sense? Absolutely. So this idea of imposter syndrome, I understand. I mean, we are not training you so that tomorrow you could go out and be the CFO for Amazon or General Motors. We're not. That's
yeah,
not the type of CFO we're training you to be for. We're training you to be the CFO for the small and medium sized business owner out there, which is millions and millions of people that do not have somebody in their corner helping them. That's what we're training you for. And if we can help you get over imposter syndrome, you'll be unstoppable.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel that. I definitely had many moments, even though like I had a really great accounting career, and I totally felt confident in what I'm doing, but just the title of CFO felt like, wait a second, I haven't done what I needed to do to earn it. So, you know, even
Yeah.
carrying it on LinkedIn, sometimes I have lots of CFO friends who are CFOs of public companies and things like that, and it's definitely something that I think about and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, me
are
too.
they judging
But,
me?
well, the thing is, and I've thought about this over the years as well. But the thing is, I think we all have to realize that to our clients, the word CFO, the phrase Chief Financial Officer means different things to different people. The
Yeah.
only thing that it matters, though, the only meaning that matters is what it means to our clients,
Right.
not to somebody that is a CFO for a Fortune 500 company, because it's two totally different jobs. A CFO for a Fortune 500 company has to be able to not navigate complex business transactions that maybe would measure in the billions of dollars and be able to to handle complex business environments. That is not at all what we have to do for small to medium sized businesses. Very different thing. So, the definition for a CFO to a small, medium sized business is just somebody that can guide the business owner towards having a growing and successful business.
Yeah.
That is what it is. And so, it needs a totally different skill set. You need the ability to empathize with a business owner and gain their trust and understand numbers and understand business strategy and then understand where the business owner wants to go and then help them get there. That's
Mhm.
all we need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. And that is true for sure. We definitely that's what we're all about. And I think the impact that we can have is pretty incredible. That's one reason why
Totally.
I love doing this work. Um okay,
Yeah.
switching a little bit to like asking, well, I've already been asking a lot of questions about CFO Project, but I'm going to dig in a little more and
Yeah.
ask what are some metrics or KPIs that you care about in this side of the business?
Yeah. There's several. I mean, the top ones that we care about are, of course, new member conversion rate. How many leads do we get that convert to a member? We also care about member retention rate. How long does somebody
Yeah.
stay in the program? If they're successful, they're going to stay longer. Another one we measure is how many clients our members get, how many CFO clients, because we want them
Oh,
to be successful.
yeah.
And that's our definition of success. Are you getting clients? Are you actually doing the thing? Because when you join our program, you're going to meet with our community manager who during the first meeting, literally, we're going to help you set targets for your firm. How many clients do you want by the end of the next 12 months? What revenue do you want to have? What does your average client fee look like? Is it going to be a mix of bookkeeping or tax and advisory? And what's the mix look like? And so we're going to help you figure that out. And so now you have a hard target that we're going to help you shoot for or aim for. And I mean, so we want to know, or did you hit that? Are you on track to hit that? Um, and then the those are the those are the top KPIs. Other leading indicators, of course, are things that drive almost any business, which is leads. How many leads are we getting? What's our conversion rate? What's the retention rate? The average value of a member? Um, you know, cost of sales, um, things like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, but those are the top ones.
Yeah, I like that. Do you have any kind of system you use to track your KPIs? Are you doing that on Excel spreadsheets? What do you have any fancy dashboards you like to use? We like to know about systems too.
Yeah. Oh man, 'cause I used to own an e-commerce store, as I mentioned, for several
Right.
years, and so I love and being an former accountant. I love numbers. I love numbers, and I think I've tested everything on the planet. But guess what I use to track everything?
Excel.
Excel. And it's because not there's not one system that I've found that can be the one dashboard for everything. Like Google Analytics is great for one thing, and then QuickBooks, of course, is great for another thing. And then you have the CRM system where we track all our leads and pipeline. That's great for another thing. But all those are all three different systems. And so everything gets poured into a dashboard that we've created over the years that is our sort of our holy grail. It's the thing that we look at daily to see which part of the the program the business is needs help.
Yeah.
I mean, coincidentally, that's exactly what we teach our members in our program to do as well for their own business. And I mean, because if you think about it, a business is a machine.
Yeah.
Think of a washing machine. If the washing machine is not doing what it's supposed to do, which is wash clothes, there's something right. There's a reason. There's a part or two, multiple parts that is the cause of that. We just need to figure that part out, fix it, and then keep fixing, keep improving all the parts until the machine is getting better and better and better at what it's supposed to do. So if a washing machine's job is to wash clothes, a business's job is to generate consistent positive cash flow. That's a business's job, regardless if it's a training business or lemonade stand. I mean,
Yeah.
every business is a machine. And so we track everything, every part of the machine we call drivers, the things that
Yeah.
drive cash flow. They're basically KPIs. Um, we track everything in a business. And so we train our members to do that for their business and for their clients.
I love that. If I were to give you $50,000 right now to spend on the business to move it forward, what do you think you would invest it in or spend it on?
Probably even more people.
Yeah.
And at least, another person. Um, because
What's that next hire that you're like, ah, I need that next? What does that
probably
look like?
somebody in probably, I don't know. That's a good question. It would either be in marketing or in operations, one of
Yeah.
the two. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's probably in operations because there's so many ideas that we want to get to. We just don't have there's so many cool things that we know that our members would enjoy, and we're rolling out a bunch of stuff every year, anyways. But there's so much more that we could be doing if we had the more more manpower.
Yes. Yeah. I feel that for sure.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Is there anything that you wish that you had invested in sooner in your business?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I don't know. I this is gonna sound trite, but if the I do think after building multiple businesses, I think it's important. I think this sound like a crazy answer, and I'm not sure I 100% believe it, but because we had limited resources, we didn't have millions of dollars at our disposal to build. We had to be resourceful, and we had to keep our nose and our ear to the ground, and do things that are not scalable. And I think that helped us come up with processes and systems and a business model that works without having to waste a bunch of money. We
Yeah.
could see, if talking to prospects, we could see, is this idea working or not? And um and if it's not, then we quickly pivot. Whereas if we had a bunch of money, then we just hire a bunch of people who don't have the same vision or really care as much, and have them go out and do it. And we'll just waste a bunch of money and time to come to the same conclusion that it's just this idea is not working, or and so to answer your question, I don't know what we would have done differently.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love that. Because I mean, you're learning from past mistakes or past, things that went
Totally.
well. And when you do it multiple times, you can kind of reiterate each time. So I love that.
Totally. But 10 years ago, somebody handed me a check for $10 million, I wouldn't turn it down.
Right. I love it. Okay. I have one last question for you before I ask it. I want to make sure to point people to the website, which is thecfoproject.com. So people can go and check it out if you're interested in learning more. And the last question I have for you is, what is your favorite business book? And I didn't tell you ahead of time. So,
Oh man, that's a good question. I love business books. Um, my, I don't know if I can have my, I don't know if I can. Okay, so there's three books that I've read in the past 12 months. I'm not sure it's my favorite. Uh, Actually, I do have a favorite. It's Winning Friends and Influencing People by Dale Carnegie. It's not
okay.
necessarily a business book, but I think when you're in the service-based business or the like training business like we are, anything where you're talking to clients, it helps so much to be
Yeah.
able to talk to them in a way that makes sense. Like, the I don't think Dale used this analogy, but most people are tuned into one radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? That sounds corny, but the point is, most people, like, if you try to put out a marketing message, let's say for a CFO service, if you try to put out a CFO service marketing message to a business owner, you have to communicate the messaging. You have to put position the messaging in a way that resonates with them, because they only are tuned in to what's in it for me. I see all these accountants out there that are trying to start CFO services, or really tax or bookkeeping services as well. And they'll put up a website, and all it is their photos, and they're about me, and I've done this and I've done that, and here's why you should hire me. And it's like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
The business owner does not care until they know how much you care about their situation. Nobody cares about that. But anyways, uh, how to win friends and influence people, I think is fantastic. There's one that I read that I thought was actually phenomenal. It's called The Goal. I can't remember who the author is. But look it up. It's
We'll
the
find it and we'll put
Goal.
it in the show notes for sure. The Goal.
And it's unlike, I've read hundreds of business books, and it's unlike most business books because it's written as a fiction book based on a story of this guy who's running a manufacturing plant that's failing. And
Sounds like a Patrick Lencioni. Did he do that one? I don't know. It's probably not him. We'll look it up.
I know it's not Patrick,
Yeah.
but it, it's a phenomenal book because you walk. He has this coach essentially. Think of it like a CFO who walks him through how to think about how to improve his manufacturing plant. It's actually a very quick read for being almost a 400-page book.
Yeah,
because it's a fiction. It reads like a story. There's several others, but those
yeah.
those
I
are the
love
top
that.
two.
We haven't had anybody mention those before, so I appreciate that. Well, Adam, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Is there anywhere else that people can reach out to you and connect with you if they want to do that?
Yeah, LinkedIn, just search for my name, Adam Lean, Lean, and or just go to the website, like you said, and
Perfect.
we'll be glad to.
You have a podcast too.
We do have a podcast, and it's called Escaping the Accountant's Trap. We talk about everything related to how to escape the accountant's trap.
Yes. Great. So if you are an accountant listening, definitely go and check that out. I've listened to a couple episodes and it's definitely worth your time. So, well, Adam, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me, Hannah.
Thanks for listening to the Financial Clarity Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes to learn more about today's episode and click subscribe on your favorite podcast app.